Hello guys! Welcome to Game. And it's not just any game, it is our first game. Metal at Arms, the new YouTube channel. I'm quite sure you've all been looking forward to seeing this. Well, okay. I know you haven't, because until now you didn't know about us. But I think this is something new. And with your help, I think it might get something good. The first thing I have to say about this video is that we are not watching pro games. These players we are watching now are rated around the 1300 point marks, which is actually upper class in new player lobby. Or intermediate class in the intermediate lobby, which doesn't really exist, as you all know. So, as this is an arena game, it will take some time to get it rolling and to get into it, because we all know those two players are just going to fast castle. And the first thing I'll do is just introduce this new channel. As I already said, it is called Metal at Arms, and we are a group of German players who've been playing for quite some time now, but not reaching any higher level into this game. The thing is that we always enjoyed watching Barbecue, Turkman and Zero Empire streaming their games, and we all saw these games and thought, wow, those pros are playing amazingly and they are so extremely good at this game, but wouldn't it be nice if any of those streamers would just look at some lower rated games and perhaps correct some mistakes that are made there? Well, to be honest with you, Barbecue Turkman has done something like that. I think it was called Teaching a Noob. But there weren't that many games of this kind, and so I think we could just fix this. We could get into some games that aren't ranked that high, and we could look at all these little mistakes or even bigger mistakes that the players make, and we can learn from them. Because I think always just watching those pro games, well, of course, it helps you getting into the build orders, it helps you seeing what is really going on and how it should be played, but it becomes kinda repetitive, and of course it just leads to copying their styles. And I am not a big fan of copying styles. It is just much more interesting to develop your own style, even if it isn't that effective. And of course, it is interesting to see players playing intelligently, making interesting decisions, making interesting strategies, perhaps even strategies that aren't that optimal, that aren't the best in this situation, but that might just perhaps catch your opponent off guard and therefore lead to you winning the game. And so I think this first game might be one of these games. We have in the red, playing as the Turks, Doom Rails, and he's actually a member of our staff. He is responsible for managing the technical aspects, so he will upload the videos, he will cut the videos, and he will be responsible for designing the page, designing the pictures, and therefore he won't cast that often. The second player, playing in the purple as the Turks as well, is Doom Hatebreeder, whereas the Doom isn't shown here because his name is just too long. And he will be mostly casting, I think, because he's not that much into the technical aspects. But still, I think he's quite good at what he's doing, and I'm quite sure that you'll enjoy when he casts the games. Me personally, I'm Mjolnir, and I'm obviously casting this first game. So what we're seeing right now is a little laming. We've seen Rails trying to prevent Hatebreeder from getting in his boar, and therefore some delay of Hatebreeder's first boar, which isn't too much of a big deal on Arena. But as you see, Rails is a bit low on his scout, so he has to escape with a scout, and now going back to the wall. Obviously Hatebreeder didn't want to get into this gate, because when being inside your enemy's base, well, of course, you get a lot of scouting information, but if you aren't that highly skilled, it is quite possible that you will forget about the scout at some times, and your enemy will just wall it in or kill it. So he didn't want to get into the space. At the moment we are seeing not both players on pop 22. So this is something really unusual in normal ranks, as well as this one. Because usually the really good players, they don't have any idle TC. But at that moment we are seeing Hatebreeder is at pop 22, Rails is at pop 24. So actually Hatebreeder is one pop behind. And this is because, as you just saw, Hatebreeder has already done the loom. Why? Because he had to lure the boar from outside the whole way into his town center, where he's got a bunch of idle villages right now, which is far from being perfect. Now they're just being tasked to another direction. I don't know where they... yeah. He's deleted this piece of wall and he's going to gather these deer. Perhaps even mill them. Which is quite risky, but not that risky, because he's got loom and he knows that his opponent's scout is lower than his. On the other side we see Rails having his deer outside as well. And we'll see shortly whether he will decide to go for them or not. So now that we've talked about the players and the action going on in the first minutes, which was quite a lot for an arena game, I think it is time to talk a little about the maps. Oh, we're seeing Rails just killing the deer. On Rails' side, we see the main gold is not about to be rest, it's quite far. Even a castle drop right here would just cover one side of the gold and it could be mined from this side. And it's quite unprobabilistic that Hatebreed will castle drop right here, because he obviously doesn't know the main gold is here. If he would castle drop, he would either do it here, covering both stone spots, which might be kind of important in a Turk war, because of course both players are willing to go for Janissaries, such a strong unit just in the Castle Age, and of course in the Imperial Age as well. Then Rails has this nice gold here. I'm not sure whether he scouted it. Let's see. No, he doesn't know about it, and this might be a mistake, because you always want to make sure you've scouted all of your arena. If you haven't, you might miss out on some of these nice resources, or some of these nice extra resources, which might really help you out. Now, Rails advancing to the feudal age. I think Hatebreeder will follow him shortly. Whoa, Rails going up on pop 27, which isn't the standard on this low level games. Usually people tend to go for a pop 28 to pop 30 castle age, and not 27 to 29, because it's a little safer, though being slower, and you have followed it up by quite a strong eco. And if your eco isn't balanced perfectly, it is just a little safer. And we are now seeing Rails building the blacksmith, and I'm waiting for the market. Can't see it. There it is. There it is, the market going down. And looking at his resources, oh, he's quite low on food, which doesn't look perfectly, and quite high on gold. He might even have to buy some food to get to the castle age. Developing loom right now. Yeah, he should buy some food, otherwise he'll be so delayed going up. And he's dropped off the deer food.
How's it?
This is not good. You usually don't want to wait for your castle age, you want to click immediately, especially when going up on pop 29 to be a bit faster. Now going over to Hatebreeder, we're seeing he's still feudal, he's pop 30 and he's clicking up now. So he had to be delayed something, yeah. I think this deer drop-off just took him a little too long. I'm not quite sure about the positioning of this mill as well, because, well, there were only 3 deer and he didn't hunt them perfectly, so they were lying quite away from the mill, and I'm not sure whether it was worth that. So now we see both players going up to the castle age, Hatebreeder being smart, building the house to not get population blocked when he reaches the castle age. And having a look at their eco, we see 4 farms for Hatebreeder and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Rails. So at the moment Rails having quite a bit of an eco lead. As well, his resources look really balanced in a special way. He's got a lot of wood, he's got a lot of gold. So as this is an arena game, and an arena monks are quite a popular choice because of the walls, of course, and because of the relics. Collecting the relics is so worth it on arena. We might see a monastery from him. On the other hand, looking at Hatebreeder, he's got a lot of food, and he's got, wow, so much wood. He's definitely going to drop 2 town centers straight away, and since he has only 83 gold, he won't go for any kind of military whatsoever. And this will be interesting for us, because we are seeing on the one hand a very aggressive player, on the other hand we are seeing just a passive boomer. And booming passively, as it usually isn't the right thing to do, perhaps on Arabia or even on any other open map on water maps, just passive boom will usually lose you games. But in arena, if you play it right, this might work out, and you might really wall your opponent out and just prevent him from doing any damage to you. Now Rails up to the castle age, and we see the monastery, and I think the monk will come straight out. Yeah, 2 monks queued. With that much gold on the bank though, he perhaps should have saved for a second monastery. I'm not quite sure about this barracks. Well, he's building spearmen to protect his monks from enemy cavalry raiding. Though this guy is really low in health. I think 1 spearman should really be enough. But at the moment we see Hatebreeder, Rails hasn't scouted too much of Hatebreeder's base. He doesn't know where to push in exactly, but he knows about those 2 relics and he will want to grab them. On the other hand, Hatebreeder, what does he know about Rails' base? He knows about those 2 stone spots, but he's not doing any aggressive castle drop. He knew about this wood as well, so placing a castle right in front of this, on this gate, could have been interesting for him, but he decided to do it a little more passively. He's got his 2 town centers up and running, he's collecting a lot of wood, and of course seeding a lot of farms. And he does know nothing about Rails' intention to go forward with some monks. And there we have them. First monk on the way forward, a spearman, and now, switching to Hatebreeder quickly, does he see it? No, just out of range. Now looking at it, nah, he doesn't see it. Now he sees the spearman, and now he sees the monk. Losing his light cavalry, unfortunately he could have tried to pick off that monk immediately, but now he really should know that there is a monk. And this always means something for you. It means danger. The enemy has some monk, and I think he's going to build more. It's very probabilistic that he'll build more. And turning off the fog of war, we see, more monks incoming. And a forward siege workshop, which is really, really dangerous. Because if you bust down these walls, get in with some monks, and get into an completely undefended eco, which is just lying open there for you, you can convert so many villages, you can do huge damage and just boost your own economy. But the thing is, having a look at the population, Hatebreeder's on pop 41, Rails being on pop 43, but a lot of that isn't villages. So this means he's delayed in economy. He's just gotten up his 2nd town center, so economically he's behind, and he should delete these balls. They are not worth anything. They are not using him in any way. so he should just get rid of them, place some farms over here. And having a look at his resources as well, oh, he either tries to go for a really fast Imperial Age, or he's just really lacking the balancing. He should spend the gold, build another town center, and spend the food as well. And now you see the interesting thing. He's building the second monastery to spend the gold, just doing like I said. He started mangling down the wall, and he's stealing the first relic, which is really smart. Just taking the relic that is most exposed. The relic at his home door here was already collected by him. And does he know about those two on the right? No. Bad scouting. You always want to make sure you've scouted the whole arena, because those two extra relic might really make the difference between winning and losing the game. So the question is, right now, you have an enemy attacking your door. You know he'll be in soon, the wall is inevitably going down. So what are you going to do? We see right now Hatebreeder walling off. But in a really strange way. He's giving all this area to his enemy. He will lose this town center if the mangonels come forward and attack it. He has no army to defend it, however. And this is very crucial, he will lose this main gold. He's got 2 golds on the back, yeah, that's right. And this is really good for him, because otherwise this could be a really dangerous move and it could be potentially game ending. But giving this main gold to your enemy like that, never a good thing. What I think would have been best is that he would just have sold all his food, got the gold from it, bought the stone and placed a defensive castle right here. This defensive castle would have prevented rails from getting in. All these monks, all these mangonels would have been completely useless with a double wall here, and a castle here. He couldn't have gotten in any way. So I think really this wall off, well, it's nice to prevent his enemy going around, but this town center here, I don't think it is going to offer enough protection to stop those mangonels. And of course the monks are now going to town, they're starting to convert villages, and this is not looking good for Hatebreeder. No way it is looking good. Moreover, he's massing up food. He's not spending it on anything, he's not collecting the gold to go up to Imperial Age. I think he's just really impressed by this mangonel and monk push, and he doesn't really know how to deal with it. But just imagine, he would have built perhaps 3 stables and invested this food into light cavalry. Because being the Turks, you get this light cavalry upgrade absolutely for free. Just add to this the first attack upgrade, and these 1200 food could be 14 light cavalry. Now he's building a defensive castle, but it is too late. It's not covering anything of importance, and he's about to lose the town center, and with it, these farms in front of it. This isn't nice. And if Rails was paying attention, he would just go forward with these mangonels and pick up the villages, convert them, and really do huge damage. Even huger than he's doing right now. Oh, and nice choice. Putting up the forward town center. But I'm not sure. Maybe it might even be in range of the castle, so this might be a lost case, but he should have built over here because this is a much safer area. But just right now, imagine Hatebreeder would have piled up this. Oh, now it's 20 light cavalry. 20 light cavalry would absolutely wreck this. There was no way this army would deal with even 10 of the light cavalry. 20 would have been so bad for Rails. Look at this boy. Although this push is really working out, and although he's about to take on the town center, the scores are really negative. So why is this? Again, looking at the population, 66 for Hatebreeder, and Rails was 60. And a lot of this is military. At least 10 of it is military. He's still sticking to the 2 town centers, and he's no chance of really catching up in eco, of course. He's reduced Hatebreeder to 2 town centers as well, one here, and he's pushed him off his main gold. But what he doesn't know is that he's actually not having any problems gathering gold, because he's got 2 extra gold piles in the back of his base. And not coming forward with a castle, which is a smart idea to secure this main gold spot. Oh, have you seen this? This is so bad. This is so bad. The mangonels attacked this mining camp and they killed the castle. And this actually means Rails just deleted 600 stone. He lost these stone just for nothing. Really bad. Really bad. So, really, if you're placing buildings and they're on such low HP, make sure the mangonels aren't attacking ground anywhere nearby. This did really hurt. And now, having a look at the economy again, pop 69 to pop 71. And even more military coming out for Rails. Oh, and now he's running to the castle. This was losing the 2 mangonels for absolutely nothing. That's not good. And the other thing is that he's about to lose this town center. Hatebreeder placing the second castle quite smart, preventing Rails from gathering any of this gold, and reducing Rails back to 2 town centers again, because this one is inevitably about to go down. There is no way he's about to defend it. But, important thing is, both of them are going up to the Imperial Age. And this is actually huge, because, of course, Rails did some big damage to Hatebreeder, and he's killing villages, he's denying all this farming land. But since they will be up at the same time, and Hatebreeder has got 2 castles, while Rails, due to killing the first one with his own mangonel, has only 1, the trap war is definitely going in favor of Hatebreeder, so he's got some good chance to push out of space and do some big damage to Rails, while he's still in the early phases of the imp game, and doesn't have the capacity to do some really big army to defend what he's got right here. So right now, we're standing in the situation, but Rails doing a smart thing and starting to convert these buildings over here. Converting houses is always a nice thing. You might population block your opponent, you're stealing the wood from him, converting the blacksmith, it will force Hatebreeder to rebuild this. And if you're really mean, you can just delete those buildings and break through the wall this way. Hatebreeder is starting to re-wall behind us, but if Rails is smart, yeah, he does. He deletes the wall, and now he could convert the villages if he's got the capacity on the walls. Yeah, they have enough faith, and he will convert another villager. So this is really hurting. If he has enough faith, he can convert those janissaries, and this will just really... no, he knows he has already converted too much. He knows he can't push into those janissaries right now, and he's doing the right thing, pulling them back and waiting. Oh, both players reaching the Imperial Age at exactly the same time, and now I'm sure there will be trebuchets coming out. Yeah. 2 from Hatebreeder and, of course, only 1 from Rails. He's queued up 2, but this won't help him. The question is, who will be able to mass small traps at the same time? And of course, Hatebreeder is having a match here. Eco-wise, still only 2 town centers from Rails, and he's cut open right here. His base is open. If Hatebreeder manages to break out, to get down this castle, and perhaps put some Hussar raiding over into this base, this game might be over very soon. And the first trebuchet is out, and yeah, 2 traps out for him. And of course, Rails just now has to repair this castle. He has to. He really, if he loses this castle, his whole push is about to crumble. And now looking at Hatebreeder, yep, he is starting to build stables. He's got already 1, 2, 3 built, 4th on the way, and he's queuing up the Hussars. He has the food to build a lot of them. He should perhaps build even a 5th stable. And then he can just push out, kill whatever Rails has at this point. And the castle is down. And now the question is, will he keep his own castle? The answer is, oh, this doesn't look good. There's a bombard cannon, there's 2 bombard cannons. He's firing the Janissaries. This is a little micro-intense. I think this castle is about to go down. He should now get his Hussars out, and there it is gone. Now there's no reason for him to push out immediately. It will take some time for those traps to pack and to drive over here, unpack again. Now the trap war is starting. Hatebreeder has 5 traps here. He should easily win this battle. He should easily be able to just target down the bombard cannons, to target down the enemy traps. And he should of course start repairing. He has 1,500 stone, nearly 1,500 stone in the bank. He should be able to repair this castle easily. And if he doesn't do it quickly, it might go down. At the same time, he's massively housed. Because Rails converted those buildings, was attacking the houses, and now, well, just cleaned. Just cleaned. He should definitely not attack those villages, but the mobs. Because this way, yeah, 3 conversions, 4 conversions happening, just totally turning around this. This was just some awesome micro to just target down those hussars, but still, Hatebreeder queuing up a lot of them now. He should definitely build more stables, and he should... Wow. Look at this. This is huge. This is enough resources to just wipe out all this. And having a look at Rails... Yeah. Wow, so many resources piling. Those players, and this is an often seen mistake in the lower rate stages, you really should spend those resources. They know, well, okay, I need some eco, I need to build my farms, I need to build my town centers, I need to gather resources. Because resources give me the opportunity to do something against my enemy, to distract him, to punish him for everything he does, and of course to finally kill him, which this game is about. You have to kill your enemy, and resources are just there for giving you the opportunity to kill your enemy. But if you aren't spending it, they aren't helping you in any way. At the moment Rails has 2,000 wood and at least, well, it's almost 4,000 gold on the bank. With these resources you could just build such a huge army. If you just bought, perhaps, you can buy some stone, build 2 castles from it, buy some, invest the food and the wood into farms, and take the food and finally use all this to build 30, 40 Janissaries? No problem at all. But at the moment nothing of this happening. Just hussars coming out, and Hatebreeder finally spending all his food into... Wow. He spent it in some way. He's queued it up in a stable, and as he's constantly housed, he can't get it out. The problem for him at the moment, of course, is, besides that his eco is idle in big parts, he really doesn't have that much space to boom his economy up. If he just places some farms and another convert going up, and no, I don't think he'll get this now. No way. Now the push from Rails completely failing, completely being pushed back, and having a look at his population, he's down to 75, while Hatebreeder is sitting on 105, just not building more because he's constantly housed. And I'm not too sure about the position of this castle. Really. It's not protecting the gold from raids coming from over here. I think the best thing you should do is just get rid of this stable and then place the castle right here in front of the main gold to secure this for the later stages of the game. And of course, he should know right now, he's got 1,000 points extra, he should know that he's massively ahead of his opponent. And he should just use this momentum he just gained to push out, build some Janissaries, build more light cav, go over and perhaps bust through this house, get into the enemy economy. Now he has the chance to do it. The question is, how is Rails going to react to this? And at the moment, we're looking at him, he's not reacting at all. And there is his reaction. He's building stables. You might think, okay, he's building stables, so he's probably about to go for hussars. But the thing is, he knows his opponent has already massed up quite a lot of hussars and is adding janissaries to this. So he might think, well, going just hussars might be a little less than my opponent has. It might not be enough. He's upgrading his walls because he thinks, wow, this push is about to come in and I really need this extra time to get my buildings up, to get my army back up. And building those stables and queuing camels. Going for heavy camel. And this is quite smart. He knows his opponent is mainly focusing on those hussars he's planting, seeding a lot of farms, getting more food in. And at the moment, he doesn't have a big amount of janissaries. Of course, Rails doesn't really know about this. He can't know that there aren't enough janissaries to face heavy camels. But still, he knows that heavy camels just keep him in the game. He has a chance if he just keeps up this production. And now those camels are in, heavy camel on 67–80%, camels coming out, and those camels, I think they're absolutely enough to just slaughter these hussars. Yeah, they will. Wow. This is a lot of dead hussars. This is a lot of food gone down the drain immediately. And looking at Hatebreeder, he spent a lot of his food and he won't get it back so quickly. He just can't afford to just waste a whole army. And this army, well, he's pulling it back now, but wow, losing so many hussars in the process. That's at least 7, 8, 9 down. And now getting back into the space. What he should do right now is queue more janissaries and get more of them. He should do the upgrade for the production speed so that he can get out more of them. And Rails at the moment, well, look at his resources. He could build a castle, but going for janissaries is not a real option. He perhaps might buy himself a castle and go for janissaries then, but the problem is, for him, it's obvious that his opponent is about to outmass him in janissaries, is about to outmass him in hussars, so he needs the counters. And countering an army of hussars by heavy camels is of course a good choice, but the second thing is that janissaries in Turk War do not really have any counters. Janissaries are just such an awesome unit. They have 22 attack. You just can't imagine how much this is. It's bringing down every kind of unit so fast, and combined with their 50 HP, which isn't that much, but still, for a ranged unit, it's quite enough to really take at least a bit of damage. Combined with this, those janissaries will just kill any kind of army if they are microed correctly, and now we're seeing a big fail. Ouch. Those units aren't patrolling and Hatebreeder isn't paying attention to them. He's about to lose he's about to lose perhaps even all of those trebuchets if he isn't careful. He's not even moving his army now, losing all the janissaries, losing his whole advantage. That's at least, wow, 1000 gold gone down, and an extra of, still this army not doing a thing, an extra of perhaps 500 food lost, just for nothing, because Rails, he lost, I don't think he lost even a single camel, where there's one, 2 camels, 3 camels will go down, 3 camels for 3 trebuchets, 10 janissaries and 5–6 hussars. This is just bad. And the rest of the hussars getting cleaned up right. Now Hatebreeder building this forward castle, but it is in a bad spot. It lacks any protection. And if Rails finds out in time, no, he doesn't know about, but if he found out in time about this castle, he would just he would just bring it down immediately. So always notice, if you're bringing up a castle, a forward castle, make sure you can protect it. And if you can't protect it, make sure that if it goes up, it doesn't do right this and attack the next building. So now Rails, of course, he knows about it. There is a castle. Of course, there has to be any kind of resources I haven't scouted yet, which it is protecting. And now he has a reason to kill this castle, to put it down. If he hadn't built it there and just would have mined this gold pile in peace, and if you have taken those 2 relics which Rails didn't know about, I think Rails would never have noticed about villagers being here. He would never have noticed about the relics which Hatebreeder could have collected. And relics are so important to that game, because those 3 relics that are working for Rails right now have been working for him for quite a long time. For about 30 minutes they have been working in his favor, and that's a lot of gold that is piling up right now. So Hatebreeder, again trying to mess his Janissary army up. Let's have a look at his castles. Yeah, he's producing them. He's building another trap, and I don't think traps are the best decision in this place. Traps have a big disadvantage over in a Turkish war, because Turks have those awesome bombard cannons. Always watch out for them, because they just have so much more speed. They can be maneuvered around in a trap versus bombard cannon fight, and those bombard cannons will just destroy the traps because they're fast and mobile, and they do quite a punch, even against Janissaries. So perhaps Rails' idea here to counter those Janissaries which he can't build himself might be just build enough bombard cannons, protect them with heavy cavalries and perhaps some hussars to get some meat shields in front of them, and target down the Janissaries just with bombard cannons. This might work out. At the moment, well, there's not too much of an army from Hatebreeder, and therefore going into this with a lot of hussars and some bombard cannons might win him the game. And again, looking at the resources, wow, he's on pop 141, and he's got enough food to just queue up as many hussars as he pleases and fill up his population with another 60 hussars, no problem at all. And 60 hussars together with the Janissaries could even take this army from him. On the other hand, Rails, just the same thing. 4,000 wood in the bank, 2,500 food, 2,500 gold. Wow, almost 2,000 stone. He could now just build the castles and go for the Janissaries. Well, he could, but what is it? Heavy cavalry archers. You don't see this happening too often. The idea, well, I don't have any stone. What shall I do? I need some kind of ranged unit to win these battles. Why not go for heavy cavalry archer? Yeah, and I think this isn't the worst idea, because having heavy cavalry archers, they are not that strong. Compared to Janissaries, they are quite crappy, I have to say. But the thing is, they have one thing that Janissaries don't have. They are fast, they are mobile, and they are accurate. And Janissaries tend to miss quite a lot with their shots. So if he micros them carefully, he might be able to take out quite some of these Janissaries, and together with the masses of his heavy camels and perhaps some hussars, he might be able to overwhelm this army, which is growing bigger and bigger. The thing is, he has to attack now, while he still has the advantage in army count. He can't wait too long, because those Janissaries will become stronger and stronger. The other possibility he has is to say, okay, he has the stronger army, but at some point he's going to run out of gold. And at some point my 5 relics, 2 of them not being collected, which he really should do, because having 5 relics is just awesome. Oh, pardon me for that. At some point those 5 relics, usually they will just win you the game, because having 5 relics over your opponent who has none will finally lead into your opponent having no gold left, having no gold units to produce, and he will just scrum. He has no chance if you still have 5 relics in his hand. So it might be an option for Rails to just sit this out, wait until the Janissaries fall, wait until the gold runs out in his base, and in this way get rid of his opponent. But what's happening here is just not good for Rails. Those Janissaries are just so much stronger than the cavalry archers. Look at the difference. 7 plus 4 archers, 11 attack and 22. Wow. Ouch, this is really... But still, they're a bit more beefy. They have this 80 HP. And now he's doing the right thing. Look at this. This is really good. He's microing the cavalry archers, picking off one Janissary after the other, and all those shots are missing, not killing him too much. And this way, he's really getting out the most of his army, and killing a lot of Janissaries and light cannons just for free. And now he has the numbers. Hatebreeder really has nothing to counter this. His whole army is just gone. And Rails is sitting on this massive army of heavy cavalry archers, and I think somewhere around here there have to be some heavy camels as well. Yeah, they are right here. They should be at the front. Now the trap's going down, and the other one will fall as well. Yeah, there it is gone. And he just has to stay away from those light cannons and Janissaries, because they're just quite packing a punch, but coming in one by one, so not a big threat this way. Now he has to really bring forward his siege. He has the opportunity to end this right now. Taking this battle as well, and Hatebreeder forced into skirmishes. This is something you never want to happen. You don't want to produce skirmishes when you're Turkish, because you lack the elite skirm upgrade, and unupgraded skirmishes against heavy cavalry archers, they are just toast. They have no chance. You could just throw these resources away in any other way. They really won't do anything against those cavalry archers. And we see the score just rising 3,000 points ahead for Rails, just because he's killed so much army, and well, he's lost quite a lot of it because of this, but still, having killed so many units, having the map control completely, now mining the gold in the edges, perhaps about to collect the relics, I hope so. Now on 154 population, and Hatebreeder down to 132. Those guys are really not making the most of their opportunities to mass army. Still, we are seeing 4,000 food in the bank, 7,900 wood. He could just sell this and get rid of his gold problems, because now in his base we see there are these 3 gold piles left. Okay, still this is about 1,500 food, but the problem is it's just placed in this corner and it's not very efficient together. He needs it, of course, but he can't get enough of it. And this main gold, which Rails stole big parts from, still so exposed, and he really can't engage this. He can't gather it, because every villager that will walk there will be seen by the bombard cannons, and the bombard cannons will kill the villagers, will probably kill the army as well. And if Rails just micros this carefully right now, he will be able to... Oh, trying to push out now, but he really shouldn't be doing that. He's going for the bomber cannons, yeah, that's right. And looking at his food count, it's an obvious choice to just sacrifice those hussars. But I'm not sure whether he'll get the bomber cannons, and now he's getting surrounded. He might pick off one. Will he get it? Yeah, this one is about to go down. There it is gone. But the second one will stay up, and I'm not sure whether it was worth it. Sacrificing all this just for one bombard cannon, and having in mind that his opponent at this stage of the game is having so much gold because of the relics and because of the extra gold he's taking. Still not taking this one. Can he see it now? Yeah, he should see it now. He should really start taking it, because all those wood villages, they are gathering wood so much, and 12,000 wood. You don't need that in Turk. He's just building one single unit costing wood, and now, well, going in with the light cavalry, the hussars, they're just going to slaughter these janissaries. Not because they're better, but just because they're just massing so heavily. There is no way this army will stay up, and it's gone again. And Hatebreeder again down to almost 0 army. This is all what is left of his army. So you're seeing, guys, this game is quite stalematey. They are not really gaining any ground. Of course, Rails has the map control. Of course, he has the army. But looking at this, he's got about 60 units here. He's got siege. He's got so much resources in the bank, but why is this game still going on? The thing is, at those levels, people just lack the ability to kill the player. There is a big lack of aggression. Usually, at this stage of the game, your opponent should be down and out if he has so much less army than you have. But really, Rails having his bombard cannon right here and not building more. This one should be repaired, by the way. It's always a good thing to repair your army, your siege units, because you don't really want to rebuild them. You don't want to lose too much HP. Oh, this did hurt, killing your own bombard cannon. This hussar was so worth it. You really don't want your army to just go down for nothing, and Raid's finally reaching population cap, and now he should push in. Hatebreeder remassing his Janissary and light cannon army, but this is just no match for what Rails has. He should just place another 10 stables right here and start flooding the units in. This is enough to keep flooding hussars for almost forever. And Hatebreeder now, well, he's chopped so much wood, he's finally gaining some space in his base, but still big parts of an economy idle, no lumber camps replaced. This is something you should always do in the late game. Just if there is a short break where nothing is happening, go backwards and replace your lumber camps. This walking distance is so big. Those lumberjacks, not that they were doing anything useful in collecting wood because he's got so much wood, but really, this is just awful to watch. That shouldn't happen. But now at the moment, this really looks like a final push. He's going in, he's killing a lot of light cannons and going out again. Why is he doing that? This castle has only +1 attack. It will do 12 damage. The hussars have 6 pierce armor, this means 6 damage per arrow. At a mass of those many, wow. The castle wouldn't do a thing. You really can just fight under the castle without any problem. Now he's doing this. He's using the bombard cannon, and there is the GG. Although the castle wasn't even touched, he just called it GG because he knew his opponent had all the relics, so many resources, and Hatebreeder himself, he was just boxed into this little corner. He had finally ran out of gold completely, only 61 left in this corner, and he didn't have the military production buildings, and he didn't have the army to really do anything against this giant cavalry army backed up by bombard cannons knocking at this door. So guys, although it was a very long game, looking at this, it was a very long game, and in some parts it wasn't that tense. I think having a look at the decisions they made, not producing the light cavalry against the monk plus siege push, or not placing the castle right here where the raiding happened, not placing the castle right when the raiding started, when the push came in right through here. All these mistakes added up to Hatebreeder losing so much space in this place that he was pushed back massively. And when he finally regained his advantage, when he pushed Rails straight out of his base, he should have really used this momentum to push through and end the game. He had the troops to do it. Rails was down to 0 troops, had to rebuild his stables over here and go for the heavy camels. But Hatebreeder gave him the time to rebuild, and gave him the time to play out a strong Imperial Age, even using the heavy cavalry archers, so that finally he lost the game because of a lack of map control and a lack of relics.